Chapter 4 Light Ascending. As I mentioned in the previous chapter, this was meant to be the opening sequence in the second book. And in a way, it is still an introductory chapter to the world and the aftermath of Fogosombre's defeat, establishing where our characters stand both physically and mentally. This chapter also features one of the most major revisions in the series. Kaori and Arsenio originally did not reunite in Book 2. They were supposed to miss each other accidentally, but this was changed in subsequent drafts for a few reasons. One, because their initial time together is roughly only about 200 pages, I wanted to give them more time together since their love is so integral to the fabric of the series. But two, it also just didn't make sense for them to miss each other. They were both in Chiro for the battle. It made sense that once Arsenio realized the West had fought alongside Afonso's light, he would reckon Kaori was in the capital. It would be unnecessarily cruel to keep them apart, so the story was altered to include the sweet and passionate reunion of our star-crossed lovers. Chapter 5 The Court of Atrocities. Something that I find endlessly fascinating is that so many readers require character deaths to be quote-unquote important or meaningful. And while I agree that an unexpected death can be disappointing or unfulfilling, I think it's unreasonable to expect that every character death should be grand and impactful or even conclusive simply because you like a character. So I wanted to toy with the idea of what makes a meaningful death. Because in this scene, Jacinta is not saved. She does not even learn that Fogosombre has been defeated. So her efforts have gone unfulfilled as far as she's concerned, which is just an unfortunate reality of life. I think that in itself is an important theme to explore. But in a sense, her death is still impactful because of its influence over Ingana, who is a coward at this point in the story. She, like so many folks, wants to embody a moral, brave individual, but she is led to Jacinta's death directly because of her inability to hold her ground. Jacinta's last words to her, "do the right thing," become a mantra that will ultimately drive Ingana's character growth. So it's a push and pull about what makes death important or meaningful. Now, beta readers are so crucial for the writing process because my initial outline did not include the burning of Fogosombre's body on a funeral pyre. But one bit of feedback I received was from a reader stating, well, they're just going to resurrect him in the court's basilica. I had to laugh at having overlooked this explanation that, no, this was not the intention of the series. That would be so underwhelming. So I added the funeral pyre to really bring home that he was dead after the battle. Chapter 6 Queen of Vengeance. Culling down the word count for Sparrows hinged a lot on this chapter, although it remains pretty lengthy. I had a few more scenes about the four developing New Farron's government, debating the merits of a voting body and who should have a voice. I even have a OneNote page devoted entirely to explaining how the new government would work. It borrowed heavily from the democratic system of ancient Greece. However, even though I find it fascinating, it made for a very dry read, and the overwhelming feedback from beta readers was that it was both unnecessary and brought the story progress to a grinding halt, so it was largely cut from the manuscript, though a heavily pared down version still made it to the next chapter. Also, we get Helena and Emilio reaching Shondai, and this is one of those groupings that I really enjoy. Helena, Emilio, Claudio, and Captain Elwyn. They gave me a lot of trouble in Book 3, though, because the differences in their motivations are so nuanced that explaining them became a convoluted mess, but it was fun to throw them together here.